I can care less about the money. It's more so you need a blessing and I need a blessing. So I'm here to feed you and I need to learn something from you as well. So it's a give and take. It's not about the money. It's not about the $1,000. It's more so of what I'm worth.
This episode is brought to you by FultonFishMarket.com, the most trusted name in seafood. FultonFishMarket.com is the e-commerce provider for New York's iconic Fulton Fish Market, the largest seafood market in the Western Hemisphere, trusted by top chefs for over 200 years. Fulton Fish Market provides a range of world-class seafood options. FultonFishMarket.com can help you serve a wide range of customers, whether you serve high-profile individuals or just strive for culinary excellence. They deliver directly to your doorstep in all 48 contiguous states, providing a comprehensive selection of the finest seafood, from wild fish to caviar and shellfish. When it comes to seafood, FultonFishMarket.com is our go-to destination and the name we trust. Let's celebrate those who support us and dive into this episode of the Private Chef podcast with a taste of excellence and freshness. Visit www.fultonfishmarket.com to get 15% off your first order. Use code PrivateChef at checkout. Welcome to the Private Chef podcast, serving the 1%. I'm your host, Hannes Henschel. And on our show, we speak to the best chefs, how they honed in on their skills to excel in the industry, and what it takes to work as a private chef for some of the most exclusive clients in the world. Welcome back to the Private Chef podcast. I'm your host, Hannes Henschel. Join us as we embark on a culinary journey showcasing the remarkable talent and inspiring story of Chef Q, also known as Quiana Jeffries. I hope I didn't butcher that in any way.
No, you did good.
Awesome. From a young age, Chef Q's passion, determination, and creative spirit in the kitchen set her on a path towards greatness. Guided by her granny, she honed her skills and embraced the transformative power of food. With a strong belief in giving back, Chef Q volunteers her skills to the community and has built her own company, Chefism. Tune in to hear about her high-profile clientele, including Floyd Mayweather and Steve Harvey, her philosophy of nourishing both body and soul, and her aspiration to create culinary masterpieces that leave a lasting impact. Believe in the power of food and join us on this delicious journey. Welcome to the show, Chef Q.
Woo! Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
You're welcome, and we appreciate you. And I just want to start this off with, you can tell us how your journey started from granny to the following quote, because it's quite a trop, so I'm going to read it out. It's from Floyd Mayweather. "I have never had a chef like this. She's my favorite and the best. I don't care where you are in the world, but if you want her to cook for you, it's $1,000 a plate." How did you go from the love for cooking, kind of discovering that with your granny, to that level of excellence?
Well, that's about a 20-year journey. First off, that's about 20 years into finding myself. My granny started us. I have a twin sister. She's identical. And we grew up eating vegetables in her own garden. So she had a garden. And she would literally make food for us out of that garden, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And my grandmother was also very religious and spiritual. So she used to pray a lot. And then we used to always eat good, healthy food. So that's how I was raised. So growing up and fast forward to 2002 is where I went to culinary art school. I went to Le Cordon Bleu in Pasadena. And the reason why I went there is because I wanted to learn more about my craft. I knew that I love cooking. I knew that I love people. I knew that I had an extraordinary energy inside of my body. I just didn't know my purpose yet, and I didn't know which direction I wanted to go in the culinary field. But when I went to school, I knew I wanted to be a private chef. That was my goal, and that was my number one. I never wanted to work in restaurants, hotels, just different establishments. I always wanted to have like a more intimate personal experience, which private chefing, it offers that. So after I graduated in 2002, I went to school in 2002. I graduated in 2005. I started my own company, Chefism. And that is where I used to do private chefing gigs. I used to do catering. I also dove into, I did work for small mom and pop restaurants, hotels, different catering companies. That way I can learn more and get more of an experience. You can't go from A to Z without kind of going through the different steps and learning just more and more about your craft and who you want to be within that craft, because there's thousands and millions of chefs, but you have to know what type of chef you are. So I call myself the soul feeder chef. And the reason why I call myself that is because, again, I know that I have this extraordinary energy, and I believe in anything that I touch, it also transfers into whatever I touch. So in this case, my purpose is food. So I know that I am here to offer something to humans and spiritual beings, something that they wouldn't receive just on an outside basis. Food to me is medicine. It's not just something to fulfill your hunger. It's definitely something used to connect. It's used to connect with you. It's used to help you. It's used to help you grow. It's used to also help us connect. You know, whenever you want to do something or you want to connect with somebody, 9 times out of 10, it's over food or you're going to go out to eat. So after I started my own company, I got more and more clients just from word of mouth. And that was from me passing out business cards. I just stay consistent with promoting myself. Nowadays we have social media, so it's easier to promote yourself and try to get yourself on a certain platform.
Different journey altogether, yeah?
Yes. And so within my craft, I also knew I needed a purpose. And so my purpose was to feed the unhoused community. Those that actually need and desire healthy comfort food. I say comfort because a lot of times when we eat, we're looking for comfort and fulfillment. And a lot of times people think that healthy food wouldn't give you that, but it can give you that. So that's how I ended up getting in Floyd Mayweather's building and in his house and working for him, literally off of social media. I was posting, and I had one client that reposted on their page. His name is Tony Gaskins, and Floyd's assistant, Kichi, rest in peace, because she has passed and moved on at this point. But she was the one that noticed me and brought me in and showed Floyd my page. And from there, it was call Chef Q. I want her to come. Literally, it all happened in 1 week. He called me and said, I need you to be my chef for the next 8 weeks. Are you available? And it was either yes or no. And it was a yes. And I actually was cooking for another client at the time. So I did have to tell him it wouldn't be until the next 2 to 3 days. He was okay with that. And I drove to Vegas, packed up my car, drove to Vegas from LA, which is about 3 to 4 hours. I arrived there about 3, 4 in the morning. And literally, as soon as I touched down, it was, Chef, I'm ready to eat. There was no space for just like, you would think like, hey, I just got in. Let me get some rest. No, it was already, hey, Chef, I'm ready to eat. Can you go to the store? This is what I need. And I enjoyed the journey. It was definitely a process to get there. Like I said, it took me a good 15 years to get to that door that is a big door of an opening. And I was working for him for 3 years.
Nice. So I want to unpack this a little bit. One, I want to double down on what you said about posting. You're not the first chef, and I've seen chefs in my immediate circle getting hired by A+ celebrities based on their Instagram account. This is real stuff. This happens.
Yes.
It keeps happening. Assistants pick up on that. The clients pick up on that themselves. Social media gets you hired into these estates. So that's one. And now kind of going into your personal story, what were those 15 years like? Unlike most, maybe you were actually aware of the private chef industry, given that you come from LA, you know, you were aware of that. Like when I was a chef or when I started chefing, and many of the other private chefs I spoke to, we had no idea this exists. So the interesting thing is that you actually already knew this exists. So what was your line of thought? I'm like, how did you map it out for yourself, building the skill set? And you did mention, you know, you went into different catering companies or hotels or smaller mom and pop kitchens to hone in on different skills, which I think are very valuable too, to have them in a estate setting. So how did you map that out for yourself, kind of that you already had the end in mind?
Okay, for your first item, you said promoting. So yes, I would encourage promoting, and social media is a way it's like a portfolio or your platform. So people can go on there. You never know who is going to go on your page. So I always tell people to make sure that it represents you to the fullest. My business is my business. I don't put my personal business on my business page because I truly, truly, honestly believe that, again, that's your portfolio. That's something that someone is going to look and see, you know, what you're about and what can you provide within your craft. For your second question, when I went to culinary school, I had an awesome advisor that gave a list of different roles within the culinary field. Private chefing was one that stood out the most. Again, I knew what I wanted, which was intimate settings. So whether that was me cooking for couples or cooking for a small party, that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to work for someone. That wasn't my mind state to work for someone. But I knew that I needed those skills, which will help you with timing and your process as in thinking, as into, you know, it's like, what can you create off of the top of your head? Those are the things that a restaurant and working in a catering company can help you with your timing and being consistent with seasoning and your spices and learning different things. The 15-year journey was literally a journey. It's not straight across. It's not smooth. It was up and down, where there were days where I didn't know what I was going to do. But again, I knew I can always rely on my purpose, which was feeding those that didn't have anything. At times within this field, since I am working for myself, within those 15 years, you also, you know, there's not much stability, as in knowing when a paycheck is going to come or knowing when a client is going to hit you up. So you kind of have to be wise and kind of learn how to money management and, you know, which direction you want to go, so it can help you and you don't kind of like stress out. Because I was stressed out for some of those years, and it's just, you know, it's stress that you don't need on your body, but at the same time, it's a human thing to do.
It's part of the human experience.
Yes. And I feel like that stress is what, when that door does open, even more humbling and even more of a blessing, because you know what you literally went through to get to that point. And I would say what helped me was praying a lot and staying consistent. You have to stay consistent. You have to pray. You have to kind of get outside of the box. You have to do some things for free. You have to, you know, promote yourself. I passed out business cards. Wherever I go, I pass out business cards. I don't care if I'm just going up the street. I'm carrying my business cards because I never know who I'm going to meet. You never know who you're going to talk to. I talk to everybody I cross. Every single person that walks past me, I'm going to greet you and I'm going to say hello or how are you? Because again, you never know who they are. So that has also helped me get into some of the spaces that I've gotten into, because you start a conversation. You connect with people, which nowadays people don't really say much to you, but you have to get out of that box as into, why am I here at this moment at this time with the people that is around me, because there's a reason. So you just have to find the reason.
I like that. You think that even applies when I'm on like the subway or the train? Like there's a reason that I'm in the same train compartment as all of these people.
Yes, there is a reason. Otherwise, what would be not the point, but there's reasons why people cross at certain times. Whether it is for you to listen and hear what's going on around you. So, that's how angels talk to you, because you're listening. Or rather it is, something that you need to see that can help you just in life and just in general. But there's always a reason. There's always a purpose. So I don't take life for granted and just, meeting you there's a reason, there's a reason in that. So it's...
Sorry for the interruption, but we gotta share the news with you. Nothing Fishy from FultonFishMarket.com. They're delivering world-class seafood from New York City's legendary Fulton Fish Market straight to your door. Their fishmongers have helped countless chefs get what they need when they need it for over 200 years. Trusting FultonFishMarket.com means their experts work tirelessly to make your day run smoothly. Let your cooking skills shine and elevate your dishes with amazing seafood from FultonFishMarket.com.
Being able to be aware of certain things and being a chef and being connected to my spiritual base, again, it helps.
Yeah, it really does. I think especially, taking food beyond, just kind of feeding hunger is quite a big part of that. And I very much sign for it. Like when I'm in the kitchen and I put together these meals, I really want to nourish them way beyond just their body.
Yes.
Even so, I do love that component about helping somebody transform their physical health, but even more so, I want them to feel well and, light after that, and take something out of it and make sure they have the best ingredients in the food too. It changes the quality of their life.
Yes. And it would touch them. And that's one reason why Floyd said, I've never had a chef like this before. Because I'm not just a chef. I'm not just, hey, let me cook you this meal and let me take all your money. That's not what I'm about. I can care less about the money. It's more so you need a blessing and I need a blessing. So I'm here to feed you and I need to learn something from you as well. So it's a give and take. It's not about the money. It's not about the $1,000. It's more so of what I'm worth, sort of speaking. It's not, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money for just some food, a plate of food. It's deeper than that. That's the feeling that I gave him when he would eat my food.
Yeah. But I can relate to that. I think that the way you put it is perfect. You need a blessing and I need a blessing. And it's so much more than a simple transaction. Or rather, it can be. If you as well as the client has that intention, it can be so much more than a simple transaction of here, you give me some dollars, I give you some food that, you can eat.
Yeah. And some people, their philosophy is that, it's just, hey, I'm a chef, you make good food, let me just pay you this money. And I'm more deeper than that. It's not about the money.
I think what you're doing, and also it very much aligns with me. See, I look for genuine relationships with my clients. I prefer that so much more to actually build that kind of relationship than just have a straight up like polished work relationship, which a lot of the private sector is like that, where you're just a small wheel in a larger machine that enables some executive or somebody to run their life a certain way. And those kind of jobs exist. But what I've also learned is there is an entire group of people that actually look for genuine connections with the people inside their household, like you and me.
Yes, genuine connections, because again, there's something there that I need in life and there's something within me that you need in life.
I like that, the way you put it. Yeah, 100%. So what was your experience like kind of hitting the ground running and then it turned into like a 3-year working relationship?
I would say my experience it definitely was interesting, none the least, because Floyd he's a character himself. And when I say that, he trains at 3, 4 in the morning. So it's not normal hours. Usually typically people think that, they're eating breakfast at 8, 7. No, he can call you at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You never know when he's going to call you. It was like I was a 24-hour chef and 7 days a week, and you never know when he's going to call you, and you never know when he's going to need you.
Yeah.
So you can be anywhere. It doesn't matter. You can be on a date. You can be anywhere, and he calls you and he's hungry. And it was never just for him. He has a whole money team. So again, it's him plus 20, 40 people at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he might want, a 10-course meal, but you never know what he wants. You just have to be on your P's and Q's ready to go. And that's something that I appreciated. With that experience, it kept me on my toes. It wasn't boring. It wasn't, the obvious. It was something that was just, you have to experience it. And I really feel like they need to make a game show out of that, where it's like, you never know when someone's going to need you, and you have to get up and you just have to be ready. And I learned to be ready, and I learned to you have to know your client. You have to know kind of like what they like, what they don't like. So it's easier for you I can do a meal in an hour per se, and it doesn't take me so long, but I can do it within an hour, and you have to be quick.
Yeah.
Because with people, not like people like him, but sometimes in a high profile clientele, they have a limited time. So you have to be quick. Otherwise you miss the train and you're still cooking, but they're gone.
Yeah. Especially if they're running on a schedule, like the time is a time,
right.
They have to keep rolling, like, whether you're ready or not.
Yep. So that's working for him for those 3 years and training with him for his fights. Again, it was me impacting his body. It was me helping him. It was me, providing strength for him. It was me providing energy for him. It was me providing fuel for him. Those are the key things that I look at as into what can help somebody in their craft, because I'm there to help him in his craft and he's there to help me in mine, which is, again, to bless someone that needs that type of feeding.
Yeah. How did his diet shift kind of be before the fights? Like, was there a significant difference in how he would prepare for fights and how he would eat on a regular basis?
Yes, I would say eating on a regular basis, he's more of a comfort guy. So he's from Michigan. The things that he grew up on, whether it was top ramen or spaghetti and fried fish and tacos, those are some of the favorite things that he liked. And people used to be like, tacos, like this, so easy to make. Why you can't make it yourself? It's a difference when you grow up on things and there's a comfort. So he would eat those things. And then when you're training, it's more lean meats, no carbs, veggies, a lot of juicing, things that are going to actually help him, eating Brazilian nuts and things that are going to actually help your body, not just give you a comfort feeding, but things that's going to give you nutrition, things that are going to give you all of the elements that you need to function in your mental, to help you mentally. Yeah. Things that make your body keep on working and being elevated. With his type of training, it was hardcore, and he's a hardcore trainer. He's, he can run freaking 10, 12, 15 miles at 3 o'clock in the morning and take no breaks. I was saying that's something that you have to be aware about is when you're a private chef, is learning your client, what their needs are, and try to do the best you can.
Yeah, and I was just about to go there. It's like, did you have a team, like a nutritionist, that helped you kind of dial in on the performance part of the diet? Because that's something that I've worked with, where there's the smaller team that kind of attends the medical and the performance part, where you, between a doctor and a nutritionist, that, helps really also keep score of, okay, we've been feeding this. This is kind of where we're dialing in on the performance.
Yes. I did talk to his doctor and I did talk to his nutritionist a few times, which will help me build his menu. I will build his menu and the different things that he would eat, but they would give me things to stay away from or things that he need more of, the different vitamins. And then I did my own research to see which foods that would suit him. Because again, learning your client and knowing what they like, what they don't like, also matters into helping them still get their nutritional value. So, yeah, I worked with his team plenty of times because, again, it doesn't take just one person. I would be in the kitchen cooking by myself, but actually executing everything, I would have his team with me too. I was saying about me talking to his doctors and his nutritionists, learning more and more about the things to stay away from, things that would help him. And then I did my own research as into different foods that will provide the different nutritional value for him as well as comfort, because he is a comfort eater as well. So you can't just give him a grip of veggies and expect, not saying he doesn't like veggies. He does like veggies, but he's not a vegetarian. He eats meat, so there's different people where there's athletes that are more vegan, where you would get more, I believe, out of your nutritional value of eating than eating, like beef or pork. I would never suggest. He didn't eat pork, but he would eat beef sometimes. So working with his doctor and nutritionist helped.
So you would say that somebody on a plant-based diet can have better performance?
I would say someone on a vegan diet can have way better performance than someone that's eating like a meat protein diet. Mainly because beef and certain meats stay in your system longer. So it kind of weighs you down. And him as a fighter, he needs to be quick on his toes.
I have some personal experience around that, because whenever I fast, which I do on a regular basis, and whenever I enter the fast, there is originally I was surprised how long it took me to get to like an actual clean bowl or colon when I came from a meat diet. And then when I went into the fast from like a vegetarian plant-based diet, the system is just clean a lot sooner.
Yes, your system will flow easier.
What made you eventually, after 3 years, move on from cooking for him? Because maybe, just my guess is, having a 24/7 on the call chef also is very intense for you as the individual delivering on it, and could eventually wear you out.
Yes, and that's exactly what it was. After 3 years and literally of dedicating my life, dedicating every single day, I had to make a personal decision to say either enough was enough. I am big on staying at jobs for only 2 to 3 years. I give them 2 to 3 years simply because I like to do new things. I don't like to keep doing the same thing over and over and over. So I gave him 3 years and that was my max. And then I literally quit. We had a talk. I quit and I wanted to move forward. I wanted to do something new in my life. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to actually do something for myself and not be on someone else's time. It is a lot to be on someone else's time because, again, you never know when he will call. You never know how long he will need you, especially with him training. You can be up for 3 days straight because they have to watch his system so closely, and he needs to eat this and he needs to eat that, and he has to be watched. So you have to be there. After 3 years, I was ready for something new. So after 3 years, I packed my bags. I moved back to LA. I sold my house in Vegas and I got a food truck. And I started doing feedings off of the food truck. I do it only for special events and as well as for my purpose, which is feeding the unhoused community. And I also still do catering, which led me into working for like Steve Harvey and his family and Cardi B, and just the list can go on and on and on. But I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the different clientele that I have, whether they're high profile or just, you know, your brother or sister or your family member. Because again, sometimes high profile clients, they might not respect your craft as much as, you know, someone that's next door. And those are the people that I love touching the best. Those that, you know, they're humble about it, and they love to just be grateful.
There's a different sense of appreciation there, you know?
Yes.
Because they cannot buy those meals on a daily basis, and it just becomes a commodity for them.
Yes. And once you know, like I said, I've been in this for 20 years, so I truly know what type of chef I am. I know what kind of energy I provide. I know what I'm doing in the kitchen. I know my ins and outs. So there's a level of confidence. And there's also a level of, like I said, there's a reasoning. There's a blessing for you just as well as there's a blessing for me. So within that, on this journey, I just keep going, and then I say, what's next? And whatever's next, I'm game for it.
Yeah. And I think what you said about the confidence comes from having so much experience under your belt in so many different scenarios that you willingly put yourself in over and over again, you know, going into different environments, doing different tasks, working with different people at a different pace with different cuisines, and kind of having such an ocean of experience, you know, naturally after 20 years, especially if you're doing the internal work and dialing in on what is important to yourself, what is your purpose. You know, I think that's when somebody really steps into the next level of life, into your own power.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Because I can't feed anyone if I haven't fed myself. I have to feed myself, not only spiritually, but also mentally. Again, whatever I'm going through, whether it's inside or outside of my body, whatever I touch is going to be inside of you. So I can't really feed you what I want to feed you if I'm a hot mess. If I'm having a bad day, then I just won't cook. I'll go do something fun. I'll do something that's relaxing, so then I can get myself inside of a circle or a certain state of mind to where, yes, I can feed you. I can do this. I can do that. Again, this is my purpose work, so I don't take it lightly. I don't take what I do lightly. I make sure that I am fed just as well as I'm feeding you, because that's very important.
Yeah, it's like being on the airplane. You know, you're supposed to put in the oxygen mask first, so you can help others.
Yep. And you can't help others unless you help yourself first.
So what are you currently excited about? What are you currently working on?
Currently, I am excited about, so lately off of the food truck, I started doing set work. So being on movie sets and providing meals for those on movie sets, different actresses, actors, which is very exciting because I meet all sorts of different people, and they all, again, say the same thing. I've never had food like this, and usually set life food, I guess, is usually garbage, eh? So being able to feed them something that's actually going to help their body, help them produce an awesome movie, and help them just mentally, physically, spiritually, and be within that environment has been new, as well as a little bit of challenging, because being on set life is, you know, it's on someone else's time, and you never know, you know, when they're ready. So you just have to be ready. But it's also, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's kind of project based. And I think there's some beauty about that sometimes. Like those sets wrap up maybe in 30, 45 days. And you're all in, very intense, dial in, and you're all kind of ready.
Yes.
But then you also can look back at that period and like, wow, we did this. And, you know, you nourished them through the process that then eventually turns into a beautiful piece of cinema. And, you know, you can look back at it as a project. I always appreciated that, actually. I used to work with the Formula One, for example, and we would fly in, and it was really, really intense for like a week. And then once the race is over, you're like, okay, on to the next, and then it starts from new. I also kind of appreciated the energy around that.
I like the adrenaline it gives you. It's definitely a rush.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that one of the variables probably on set is that you never know when the actual break is, because they might just go over and over with this particular scene that they want to get done now.
Yep.
And you're just kind of on demand, just waiting like for them to finish.
Yep. You're just lingering and waiting.
Get that one scene proper.
Yep. But at the same time, you don't want, like, I'm particular about my food, so I don't want it sitting too long. So I'm just like on edge a little because you're like, you're waiting. And then your food is done, but it has to be done because they have a 30-minute break that they have to eat. And all 80 of them have to eat within those 30 minutes. So you have to be really quick and ready to go. So it does have a rush, but I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, I'm like you. It always like, I want to get the food as perfect as possible. You know, I don't like it when the veggies are sitting there and I have to reheat them because they change the timing on me. Like, I want to throw them in the oven so I can get them out the oven the first time and serve them
right away.
But, you know, obviously that doesn't always work.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And you just have to be okay. I've learned to not be such a perfectionist. But you have to learn to roll with the punches, and they have to know, you know, and understand it is what it is. You know, I can fry fish, and if you tell me to be ready at 12, but then you don't come to 12:30, you have to understand that fried fish not going to be as crispy. So it's a give and take. But
and you don't want to fry it over and over again.
It's a give and take, but it's definitely a journey that I love taking. Having a food truck is a great experience. I risked selling my house for it, which was, you have to learn to sacrifice, which was something that I did. And then starting all over, finding a house or finding a place to live out in Los Angeles, you know, because LA is way more expensive than Vegas. So it's just learning to handle all of your business and doing purpose work at the same time. And just trying to enjoy life outside of that, because you have to enjoy life outside of your craft and your purpose at the same time, so you can be well balanced.
Yeah. So what would you give somebody on the journey that is just getting started in the chef world, maybe aspiring to be a private chef?
I would advise you to put on your seatbelts. It's going to be a ride. It's going to be a ride that is unforgettable. It's going to be worth it. You're going to cry. You're going to cry laughing. You're going to laugh. You're going to get angry. You're going to go through every single emotion. You're going to know how it feels to be humble, get humble. You're going to know how to be more creative. You're going to learn how to be more stern. You're going to learn how to speak up for yourself. In a world of high profile clients, you can get lost easy. Know who you are before you get there. Know exactly who you are, have a strong backbone, and don't bite down for nobody. Doesn't matter who they are, know who you are and stay there. Don't change for anybody, only change for yourself, but don't back down for anybody. Don't get lost into that circle or that crowd because it's so easy to get lost. And don't forget to pray. Be connected with your spiritual sense so then you can know how to be calm, be in peace. So when things do happen, things are going to happen that you don't know. And it will. And you just have to know this too will pass. But you're going to have to go through that emotion. You're going to have to learn from it. There's something you need to experience from it and just gravitate towards it. But just keep running. Don't stop. Don't stop. Just keep running and just keep going and smile. Smile through it all.
I like it. That was a very powerful life lesson packed up in one sentence. You know, there's so much in there. Q, thank you so much for your time. Where can people find out more about you, connect with you, work with you?
You are very, very welcome. It was a pleasure meeting you. And you can find me at chefism.com. That's CHEFISM.com, or on Instagram at Chefism. My truck page is at Chefism, the Soul Feeder Truck. And then you also can email me at chefq, CHEFQ, at chefism.com. And I answer all kinds of questions. I'm very open book. I answer all kinds of questions, whether people hit me up and just have a food related question. They need to know what's best to do with such and such. I am always open and available. It might take a minute sometimes for me to reply, but I'm an open door and I'm an open book. I'm here to help.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I know you're just about to go to work, so I don't want to keep you in any way.
Thank you. You're welcome. It was a pleasure meeting you. We have to cook something one day.
One day, yeah, when I'm on the West Coast.
Or if I'm out there in New York.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, FultonFishMarket.com, the best seafood in the nation, trusted by the best chefs in the world. Aside from offering premium seafood, they also make life easier for you by delivering all these outstanding products right to your doorstep. Visit the official website www.fultonfishmarket.com and explore the incredible selection of seafood and let your clients experience quality that has captivated palates for generations. Use code PRIVATECHEF at checkout to get 15% of your first order. When it comes to seafood, FultonFishMarket.com is the name we trust. Thank you for joining us at the Private Chef podcast. If you know any highly skilled chefs that want to take their life to the next level, make sure to share this podcast with them. And if you enjoyed this episode, click subscribe and check out our upcoming episodes. Thank you for listening.